Hello and welcome to Carlos Castaneda, the Wheel of Time, the wisdom of the shamans of ancient Mexico. Today I'm going to be finishing off interpreting the quotes from the third book in the series, Journey to Ixtlan, which for many is the most practical book about the way of the warrior in Don Juan's terms. That's why it's called Lessons of Don Juan. The new seer, the great sorcerer that taught Carlos Castaneda, who was the author of the books. So, from Don Juan. A warrior acts as if he knows what he is doing, when in effect he knows nothing. So a warrior is aware that he is operating in the unknown, the realm of reality or consciousness in which the warrior acts is the Nagual, the spirit, the abstract, which is a mysterious domain where phenomena present themselves in a mysterious or mystical fashion, in a state of non-ordinary reality, sometimes called a shamanic state of consciousness, or the sorcerer's understanding. The sorcerer's understanding is based upon interpretations based on perceptions that are due to a movement or shift in the assemblage point, which then gives rise to new interpretations. And a warrior goes into the Nagual in a state of I don't know mind. As they say in Zen, to empty your cup, to go in without the burden of knowledge, conditioned knowledge, which is the knowledge we've acquired through our peers, our parents, society, that type of knowledge which is based upon the tonal common agreements. And those are not this is not the type of knowledge that the warrior requires. He requires the knowledge of the abstract, the spirit Nagual. So in that world, he knows nothing. He might profess to know many things about the world of the tonal. He might read many books about science, philosophy, psychology, geography, mathematics, and that sort of thing, but that's all knowledge of the understanding of the ordinary world. This is not the understanding that applies to the sorcerer's world. So, but nonetheless, a warrior must act as if he knows what he's doing, and in effect, in that world, he knows nothing. So, moving on. A warrior doesn't know remorse for anything he has done, because to isolate one's acts as being mean or ugly or evil is to place an unwarranted importance on the self. The trick is in what one emphasizes. We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. So depending on what we emphasize, depending on what we place our mind intention on, depending on, in layman's terms, what we focus on, determines the reality we receive. Determines what interpretations we make upon the world. If you're in a good mood, and you decide that day that nothing can pull you out of that mood, your mood just gets better and better. When you practice being in a positive state and are determined that nothing or no one will pull you out of it, because remember, nobody is doing anything to a warrior, then it accumulates. Positivity builds upon positivity until eventually the whole world reflected back is a happy one. The warrior goes about his business optimistically. So the trick is on what you focus on. If you focus on anger, hatred, fear, panic, grief, sadness, sorrow, that's the reality you'll receive. Because to a great degree, reality is determined upon our thoughts, as the Buddha said. With our thoughts, we make our world. So, although this is not absolutely so, as the New Agers and secret people would have us believe, the world is co-created, co-conditioned, but nonetheless, if you focus on positive elements, gratitude, happiness, energy, joy, and the endless possibilities that life has to offer, then you will have a far greater time, a far better time of things, you see. Because the amount of work is the same. We can expend that effort making ourselves unhappy or miserable, or we can make ourselves happy and strong and wise and powerful, you see. So the trick is in what one emphasises. So, in that sense, a warrior doesn't waste his time with remorse and regret because there's no time. And to isolate one's acts in the sense of being mean or ugly or evil is to place an unwarranted importance on the self. And self-importance is the very thing that we're trying to get out of the way. We're trying to transcend self-importance, see? So, a warrior, with his death as an advisor, uses the time he has wisely. What's the point in, if the amount of energy and effort put in is the same, why waste that time, effort and energy making yourself miserable, making yourself feel bad? Doesn't make any sense, does it? So knowing that they're both equal, why not make yourself feel good, happy, strong? People tell us from the time we are born that the world is such and such and so and so, and naturally we have no choice but to accept that the world is the way people have been telling us it is. That goes back to what I was saying before about the Tonal and our society, whatever culture you're in, to a greater or lesser degree, depending on what culture you're in. I mean, primitive indigenous cultures and certain cultures in Asia, Latin America, and third world and tropical countries in Africa place more importance on the spiritual, or at least the nature aspect of the spiritual than we do in the Western world. Fixed as we are on either mythic religion or organised religion at that, monotheism, or scientific materialism, and the kind of cultural philosophy that goes along with that, getting and spending and accumulating things. You know, the bourgeois idea of always counting the money in your bank, saving up for a rainy day, the Protestant work ethic, and all of that. And all of that is based upon Aristotelian logic, which goes back to ancient Greece, about 2,400 or 500 years ago, and the development of Enlightenment thinking in the 17th and 18th century, that sort of thing, when these classical ideas were revived into the cultural philosophy, the modality or the tonal of the times. And we inherit this understanding of the world, which conditions our perception of the world through the society we live in, through our peers, through our colleagues, the people we mix with, hang about with, mingle with. This creates a society based upon the tonal. But we've completely ignored this side of man that we know nothing about, the Nagual. And so we've emphasized one aspect of existence to the exclusion of another. And both are equally important. So we are only living half a life because we emphasize the tonal. If we only emphasize the Nagual and forgot about paying our bills and working and cleaning our house and organising our life, setting goals and all of that, then that would also be living half a life, you see. But we've emphasised the tonal to the expense of the Nagual. And we need to redress the balance so that the tonal and Nagual are equal. That's the whole point, and Don Juan talks about this more in Tales of Power when he describes the island of the Tonal and all of the items on the island of the Tonal, which includes any concepts related to religion or spirituality and sorcery, including the soul, the spirit, the abstract. Well, these are just tonal concepts until you can perceive them directly in your everyday experience. Until the Nagual becomes part of your everyday experience, then these are just things that we think and talk about, so that they are placed upon the island of the tonal. So they have not yet become real for us in the very real sense, a sense of direct experience, direct knowledge. And this is the type of knowledge that Don Juan talks about when he talks about becoming a man of knowledge. A man of knowledge is not simply someone who's read 2,000 books and who professes to know almost every subject. That's only the knowledge of the tonal, and it's an important thing to know, to be proficient at, to be a polymath, to have knowledge of mathematics, science, geography, philosophy, psychology, spirituality, religion, and history, and various other subjects. But unless we have that direct living experience of the mystery, what Terence McKenna called the immediate apprehension of direct experience or something like that. You know, these are just words to allude. They're the finger pointing to the moon. But what I'm trying to communicate to you is that there is another dimension, a separate reality, which exists behind this apparent reality. That is the abstract. That's the spirit, and it's only accessible in a state of internal silence, when the internal dialogue, which upholds the tonal, comes to a halt. And the more that we can extend that and prolong that silence, the more we can gain access to this direct knowledge. Thanks very much.